What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the latest episode of the Layup Line. February is here, which means I am here with power rankings to start the month. I'm going to be updating these rankings in the middle of the month and then a new power rankings to start March. So if that's something that will interest you, and you want to keep track of your favorite team, make sure you subscribe to stay notified when new videos come out. Videos will release at least twice a week. So if you're an NBA fan, this is the place for you. You can also find me on most social media for inside looks at upcoming videos, as well as reactions to live games. I'm often live tweeting most games I watch, so I recommend following me on Twitter. But with that out the way, let's get into these power rankings and talk about a few teams I haven't gotten into very much yet.
What's up, y'all? You know what time it is. It's about to be that time.
They said I gotta come off the bench.
Sensations, thinking they know the game of basketball, they would then have to admit that they don't know basketball.
So as usual, I'm going to be putting up my power rankings on screen so you can see my assessments for all 30 teams, but I'll only be talking about a handful of teams to save on time and to get some more interesting storylines. But I do want to start with the Houston Rockets because they're a team that's really coming together at the right time. The Rockets traded James Harden, and I lowered my expectations for the team and was fully expecting them to miss playoffs or to be a play-in team. The West is deep, and I'm still sort of anticipating an Oladipo trade for them, and I thought the organization might have been pivoting towards trading some of their veterans, but the Rockets have been stellar defensively and are on a 5-game win streak. Since the Harden trade, and they've been second in defensive rating. John Wall, Victor Oladipo have both been all defensive guards in the past, and PJ Tucker is about as good a defender as you can find without someone that's been an all-defense team as well. And even Christian Wood is averaging a block and a half as well as a steal per game. Stephen Silas is really emphasizing the defensive side of the floor. Their opponents are barely squeaking over 100 points, and they have a 5.6 net rating since trading James Harden. The Rockets are playing really fast. They're top 5 in pace. They're still getting up threes and are top 10 in attempts. They've been efficient on their makes as well because they're shooting in the top half of the league from deep since the trade. And Rockets fans are deservedly feeling really good about their team right now. Going into the season, they had a bunch of disgruntled veterans and a bad culture. But as of February, the Rockets seem to be winning the John Wall trade. The pieces they got in the Harden trade also seem to be working well for them so far. They still have some flexibility to trade their veterans for draft assets or young players, and the Cavs even gifted them a promising young talent in Kevin Porter Jr., who admittedly has some serious off-the-court issues that have to be dealt with first. But Houston has a much brighter outlook. Christian Wood has been great, and the rookie Jae'Sean Tate is a fantastic defender who's shown glimpses of some offensive growth as well. As good as this win streak has been though, Portland and Dallas have been the best teams that Houston actually beat on the run, so I'm still looking to see them and how they compare against stronger competition, but I'll definitely be looking forward to seeing where they rank in the middle and at the end of the month for my power rankings. For the next team, I'm going to be staying in Texas to talk about the poor start that the Mavericks have been off to, because Luka Doncic came into the season as Vegas' favorite for MVP. And he's been putting up those kind of numbers, but the lack of team success is going to hold back any argument Mavs fans try to make for Luka as MVP. The Mavericks are currently on a 5-game losing streak, and in just those 5 games they were blown out by a depleted Houston team, and the Jazz pounded on them twice with Donovan Mitchell out due to concussion protocol. The Mavericks were expecting to build on their impressive first-round battle with the Clippers. They were in such good position last year, and in that first round they really might have had a chance to beat the Clippers if Porzingis was healthy. And to be fair to the Mavericks, they haven't had their full roster available. Porzingis has played 9 of the 20 games. Josh Richardson and Dorian Finney-Smith have only played 11 games. Maxi Kleber is also currently out. He's only played 9 games. So the sample size that we have to look at now is not necessarily representative of what the team could be in February and moving forward. But last year's all-time great offense is ranked below league average this year, and their defense is literally just as bad as last year with the same 111.7 defensive rating. One part of the Mavericks' issues defensively is their front court. Kristaps Porzingis needs to play to his size and not like an oversized 2 guard. there really isn't a reason that 6'8" Luka Doncic should be averaging more defensive rebounds than 7'3" Kristaps Porzingis. Finding where to play Porzingis seems to be a balancing act, because offensively it really benefits Dallas to play Porzingis at the 5 because he can space the floor, which opens driving lanes and stretches the defense. But then on the other side of the floor, Porzingis is better when there's another big on the floor that can really play the rim protector role and let him be a weak side helper, rotating to swat and affect shots at the rim. Kristaps is still not good enough defending in space, or when he's dropping in the paint to protect the rim. Dallas is vulnerable to teams with really good pull-up shooters. Opponents are shooting top 10 percentages against the Mavs from 0 to 3 feet, from 3 to 10 feet, and from 10 to 16. They give up a top 5 percentage on twos, and teams are still shooting league average from 3 against them as well. So the offense for them has really been good enough so far, I guess. They still have a pretty high offensive rating, and that'll be enough for the Mavericks to get some wins, but the defense will make it hard to make up ground on their bad record. If you're looking at their upcoming schedule though, there are some winnable games against teams that are in the same tier or lower this month, and that can really be what makes or breaks their season at this point. So I'm looking forward to checking back in on Dallas for the next power ranking to see how they've recovered. The last team that I want to get into is the Utah Jazz, because they've been proving people wrong, including myself. I think it would be very fair to call myself a Utah Jazz hater, because I've never been a believer in them, and I will take every chance I can to slander them on Twitter, but what they're doing is extremely impressive. And when I'm making these videos, I try and keep it as objective as possible, and they're objectively really good right now. So let's rewind about a year for the Jazz when the league was shut down after Rudy Gobert's first positive test in the league. Donovan Mitchell would later test positive, and we would soon hear news that the tension between Utah's best players of how lightly Gobert was handling the virus. This is on top of earlier rumors in the season of tension that Gobert was demanding a larger role in the team's offense and asking to be featured more in their sets. The situation could have very easily have led to trade demands or locker room issues, but the Jazz would continue taking L when one of their leading scorers, Bojan Bogdanovic, missed the bubble after getting what was an off-season surgery for a nagging injury, and Mike Conley was looking like a shell of himself all season, and after a blown 3-1 lead in the playoffs, no one would have blinked if the Jazz started this season slow. They've done the opposite of that while looking like a well-connected team with good chemistry. Mike Conley is currently averaging more points, assists, and steals on better efficiency, and the team is looking how we expected them to last year after they made the deal for Conley. The Nuggets recently snapped the Jazz's 11-game win streak, but the fact that they had an 11-game win streak 20 games into the season is not something I would have bet on. We can sit here and poke holes in the strength of their schedule, because it's not like they're facing the toughest part of their schedule quite yet, but you can only beat who's in front of you, and the Jazz have been doing it with one of the top scorers in Bogdan Bogdanovic, not even really playing to his full abilities yet. His 2-point and 3-point percentages are down from last year, although he's still been an elite level shooter. Utah is making the extra pass, they're keeping defenses in rotation, and if you don't rotate fast enough, it's an open 3 or a driving lane. If we stop the season today, Utah would have a very good argument to clean up that award season. Jordan Clarkson is probably getting 6th Man of the Year. Rudy Gobert might be taking home another Defensive Player of the Year award. Head coach Quinn Snyder might be taking Coach of the Year honors. And Donovan Mitchell's numbers aren't as big as some of the other guys, but when you look into the team's success as well, I'm sure Jazz fans will be arguing that he has a case for MVP. For Utah doubters like myself, we'll continue to want to see the shooting keep up in the playoffs. The team will need to answer questions about how to use Gobert in the half-court offensively. Their other guys will also have to remain elite defensively, as the Jazz's struggles on that end are most obvious the farther the offense can pull Gobert from the paint. Royce O'Neal is also the team's best perimeter defender, and it's not that he's bad, but ideally in a conference with the likes of Kawhi Leonard, Anthony Davis, Paul George, Luka Doncic, LeBron James, and others, Royce would be your 2nd or 3rd best perimeter defender, and then you're in great shape. But overall, I do consider the Jazz dark horse contenders. If injuries go the other way and they get some lucky breaks in their matchups, this year they could find themselves in the conference finals or finals. But that's it for this video. If you learned something new, if you like what I do, don't forget to leave a like. It helps me out a lot. Also, if you haven't seen last week's uploads, I highly recommend them. I did have to re-upload my Wizards video after accidentally deleting it, so do me a favor and run those videos up. If you're a fan of the NBA like I am, quit playing around and hit that subscribe button. Videos will come out at least twice a week, and now that you're emotionally invested in what you've seen in the power rankings, you gotta see the updates, so you might as well subscribe. You may also want to follow me on social media because I tease upcoming videos and you can react to live games with me. But this video's over. Thank you so much for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.